Hey, what's going on? Welcome along to episode 23 of the Strategy and Conversions podcast. I'm Jamie Michael Joseph, and as always, I'm joined by Mark Tanner. Mark, how's everything going with you?
Yeah, pretty good. Thank you. Coming to the end of, well, as this recording, we're recording this coming towards the end of a week, and it's been a pretty good week, to be honest. And the sun's shining.
So sunshine, and that's always a bonus, right? But yeah, getting into September, wheels are starting to move. I think we're already seeing, those kind of glimmers of businesses getting back to not so much normal, but just getting back into the swing of things and making things happen. And I think that would just kind of grow now over the next few weeks. Obviously, the podcast we did last week talked about making the next few months count, and that's what it's all about. And in this podcast today, what we're going to look at is just some of the kind of marketing trends which are around today that maybe you should get involved with, and some which you should basically avoid. I tell you, the reason why we're going to be talking about this, I've had a couple of conversations lately where people have said, you bash TikTok quite a lot on the podcast, and it's like, look, I haven't bashed it. Okay, I actually like the platform. I think the platform's pretty good for what it is and the audience that it attracts and everything like that. My whole kind of issue is people jumping on the bandwagon of TikTok to try and get more business when they can't get other platforms working for them.
Yeah.
And that's just means it's never going to work for you. I mean, look, there are people out there on TikTok who are earning stupid amounts of millions, right? Just from doing kind of like silly reels and, different kinds of things. And that's all great. And if that's what you want to do, if that's what you're aspiring to be, then great, get on and do it. But if you're kind of running a business and you're thinking that you're going to jump on TikTok and make a load of dancing or lip syncing videos and lots of people are going to throw money at you, look, it's not going to happen, all right? I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but that's one of those trends that at the minute that, TikTok isn't new. TikTok's been around for quite some time, and it's just got some kind of traction over the whole kind of lockdown where, people got a bit bored and they're just looking for that kind of enjoyment, that distraction, something to do, something to look forward to.
Yeah. Well, people, I mean, that's the problem, wasn't it? The people were stuck at home. It was so enforced as well. It was like 1 minute they were walking around the shops and talking to people. The next minute, bang, they're at home. And it was for some, it was a massive struggle. And they just wanted to find a way that they could just make easy, quick connections with people. And that's why I think why the popularity of TikTok suddenly sparked.
Yes, and we spoke a few times on the podcast. We've done it on training as well, and we kind of talk about social media is there as a form of entertainment for people. So people use it, to basically have that enjoyment, that entertainment, and that's great. If you want to use it, if you want to be a consumer, that's great. And obviously, look, if you want to be a producer and you want to produce content as well, that's great also. But like I said, the only thing that I've been saying on the podcast is like, look, don't just jump to the new trend and just focus on that. Take advantage of trends. We see it over the years where trends come around, and if you're first, if you can make them work for you, they can really benefit your business. But you don't give up the rest of your marketing and everything that you're doing. Your processes remain the same, your strategy remains the same. And I was going to say tactics, but I don't even think that the kind of social media platforms, we're calling them tactics. I think they're just tools that support your tactics, that support your strategy. And it's like they can interchange all the time, and you can use them as much as you want and how you want. But that's the thing. I just want to clear that one up. Like, not bashing TikTok. If you love TikTok, we still love you. It's not that thing where we're against you. But looking at some of the trends, I mean, I think the pandemic was pretty cool from that trend point of view. We actually seen different things happen within marketing, within the different platforms and stuff like that, and we actually seen things come around. So like we said, TikTok wasn't new, but the craze kind of came in where that kind of took off. We had the likes of Clubhouse come around as well.
What happened there?
And Clubhouse kind of went mental. I mean, Clubhouse was around a little bit before it actually became people knowing about it and stuff like that. But when it actually started letting people in, and it was all that kind of it was a bit like the Masons to begin with, right? Where it was like you had to know someone who was already in there that would send you an invite, and get you in. They've recently opened up so anyone can kind of jump in and use that, and it was just on Apple as well, I think, at the beginning.
Yes, right.
But it just had such a massive
It was huge, wasn't it? All of a sudden it came. Well, for me, as I said before, I'm not exactly the most trendy of people, and for me, it suddenly came out of the blue as a huge wave of everyone was on. Everyone was talking about Clubhouse. I'm thinking, I don't even know anything about it. And then when I looked into it, and it was restrictive because of Apple users, even though I've got an Apple phone, and it was just I just thought, yeah, it's going to come and go, and I didn't get involved and I think you hit the nail on the head perfectly when just about a few minutes ago when you said it's all about your process. Don't change things. Don't just jump onto things and think, oh, it's something new. Let's get onto this because this will work. If you haven't got a process, because you're still not going to have a process. So once you have a process, by all means, give it a go and try it out. But if your process is working for you, well, if your process is working for you, then why do you need to swap? If your process isn't working for you, then going on to another platform, like you said, isn't going to make things suddenly change. It's not going to be the magic formula. It's the process you need to get sorted out.
I think that's it. The kind of front end of marketing, it always changes anyway. If you look at what's cool right now, it wasn't that kind of way 3 years ago, 5 years ago, even 7 years ago. For me doing the kind of online marketing, there was a time where we were all in on Google, we were all in on Twitter, we were all in on Facebook, and all kinds of different things as well, different ads, different platforms. There's platforms that don't even exist now that we would use and take advantage of. And look, all those things can change, but look, if you have the right kind of process behind those kind of tools, you're always just using it as front end, as lead generation. You're building your audience, you're building your brand, and then you're trying to extract people. With anything we do, we're trying to extract people to come to us anyway. Right? That's the thing. That's what we should be doing within marketing, is that whether we're extracting them right away or whether we're extracting them later, the whole thing that we're doing is we're just setting that up ready.
Yeah, exactly. And as you said, the process is key, because if you've got a process, you don't ask the question, well, let's go on to Clubhouse because why not? Because it's there, we could use it. But you ask the question, will Clubhouse fit in with my process and will it work for me? Will I be able to extract people from it? And there's two answers, isn't there? Yes or no. And if it's no, then just let it be. Let other people use it. That's fine. But from a business point of view, you have to be asking those right questions. And if you're not asking the right questions, you'll just be jumping around from different social medias channels, because more will come along. There'll be more little things coming along that we haven't ever thought about.
That we'll be doing, an episode in, kind of 10 months time, and we'll be talking about something completely different where we're like, are we going to get involved in this? Are we not? And with Clubhouse, for example, I think they had such a massive push, and it was really trendy. People were getting in. They were using. Some people were using it to their advantage. They were absolutely killing it. Some people were just wasting days of their lives, just on the whole kind of platform. And I think we've kind of seen it. We kind of seen that peak, and then we've seen it drop off. Whether that peak will come back, I don't know. I don't see it anytime soon. And the reason for it is I think that Clubhouse hits at the right time. I think we were all in the pandemic. We were all in lockdown. We were all, stuck at home. We didn't have those seminars and those events that were going on. Yeah. All of a sudden, Clubhouse came about with a stage. It's like you could go in there and you could perform, your kind of seminar. You could do your talk. You could speak with other people. And mate, like I said, I know people who use it to their advantage. They made some money and stuff like that. They built up a bigger audience. I think the biggest thing that I've seen from Clubhouse, which I think was probably used the best, and I'm probably kicking myself now that I didn't use it, was actually connecting with the people in the industry. People in your industry who you maybe say the kind of heavy hitters, the big hitters, they were just in there. You could be having a conversation with them. You could be making those connections with them within that platform. Whereas, that's probably never been seen before. Where you could be sharing the same room with someone else, online, of course, but you're still sharing that same room with them. You wouldn't share it with them anywhere else. Yeah. If you take all the other kind of social media platforms and stuff like that, it's always protected. You're always behind a wall, so you're just putting stuff out on your profile and all this kind of stuff. You can DM, of course you can, but you were never in that kind of environment where you could not so much have a one-to-one conversation, but you could, go back and forth with different questions and stuff like that. And I think that was pretty cool. But like we said, that I feel like that trend has gone where, you know, you use it for entertainment, maybe, you know,
Yeah,
use
yeah,
it
yeah.
to learn, you know, different
Well, I
things.
think yeah. I mean, there's a the, I think there's two different things. Obviously, entertainment, you can use any of those platforms, because entertainment, social media is all about being social and you're having that media thing. So
Yeah.
that's sort of what it's designed for. But as a byproduct, certainly in a lot of the other channels, is that it's also useful for business, because we're making contact with people. So if those social channels are great for social interaction with people, but you have to, we are in the business of marketing business,
Yeah, exactly.
and so we can't lose sight of that, because it's so easy to go onto these platforms and run down a rat hole, and all of a sudden just think, hang on, where's that last hour just gone?
Do you know what, as well, mate? I mean, this is, you know, this may not sound right with some people, but I can remember listening to a couple of podcasts when Clubhouse basically became, you know, that kind of popular channel, everyone going to it, and a few people nicknamed it Crack House because they said they were addicted to it, right?
Yeah,
But they were
well,
just
yeah,
spending, you know, basically hours upon hours and stuff like that. Like I listened to a podcast recently, and a guy was going on about the time, you know, when Clubhouse was about. He said that he would be listening to it all the time. He said that, like, he said he would just have like he had a new son or something like that, and he said that someone would just be on his lap, you know, and he said he's just like listening to hours and hours of Clubhouse, you know, not even really paying attention to anything else. And it's
wow,
just like, yeah,
wow.
it's crazy. I think that was in one respect from a social media kind of point of view, and that's that's what it is. Clubhouse, you know, it's just another social media platform. But from a social media platform point of view, they hit the nail on the head for a short period of time,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
You know, and then that I guess that's the one of the trends that we're saying. Look, maybe that's one to avoid right now, you know, and just you know, there's no point in again going all in on there if, you know, it's not, it hasn't been producing anything for you so far, you know, nothing else is really producing it for you, then there's no point, you know. And it's like if you already have a bit of a personal brand or something like that, then possibly. But I think if you're kind of getting started, or, you know, you just have like a small business or a local business or anything like that, just, you know, it's one of those that you just put a line through it.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
So I think,
Yeah.
let's look at another trend, and maybe what else?
Well, I was thinking. I mean, one thing that's yeah, it surprised me, because as you said, it's also been around a long time. Without, I never really saw much activity on it, but it's suddenly taken off, and that's TikTok.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's where people, as it was seen as just. I know. So I was coaching somebody whose son had started going on TikTok, and so this was about a year and a half ago, I guess. And I never really paid much attention, and we were chatting about stuff. So she had a YouTube channel, she did things, and she had 3 or 4 followers, I think. And he had his TikTok channel, and I don't know what he did. I had no idea what he did. But within a week, I think he had about 150 followers in the first week. He said, "Oh, okay, pretty." He ended up, I was coaching him for about, I think, 3 or 4 months. And I think he ended up with millions. He was in the millions in a really short space of time. So whatever he did um, was obviously working. And he was walking down. They lived in London. I can't remember exactly where. I think it was Wimbledon or something like that. And he'd be walking down the street, and people were recognizing. So, oh yeah, you're that guy from Yeah, I know. Yeah, we watch your channel all the time. And she was amazed, and I was even more amazed. But and I think he started getting a lot of approaches from people for advertising agents, because he had such a following. He then became very attractive. He became an influencer.
That's what
People
we're talking
saw him
about.
as an influencer, and bang, the whole thing of influencer marketing. He was asked by a lot of companies to put his face onto things and stuff like that, and getting a reasonable
I mean,
amount from it as well.
that's the thing, isn't it? Look, that personal brand, that kind of influencer kind of side.
Yeah,
It's like, yeah, look, if you're looking just to kind of grow your audience and people to look to you as being the kind of main person within that industry or within your kind of sector, whatever it is, then yes, it's a great platform to use. And they're probably the only social media platform that I could think of right now, but that algorithm is actually the reverse to most algorithms, where if you take, for instance, like Facebook, we all know that the reach is just like non-existent, right?
Yeah, terrible.
It's from a business point of view, especially, right?
Yeah.
But if you go into TikTok, where it's doing the opposite, because if you're putting stuff out, it's actually showing it to a lot more people because it wants to kind of grow that platform.
Yeah.
And it's like there will be a stage with TikTok, the same as what happened with Twitter, what happened with Facebook, what happened with Instagram, YouTube now, LinkedIn, all that kind of stuff, is that they look to monetize their platform.
Yeah.
And the way how they, and I know TikTok, they already have that kind of part where they are looking at the share revenue. So they're looking at, okay, look, you do your kind of reels and stuff like that, and then they will advertise and you will both take a cut, and they're testing different features that way. But the whole point there is that they are pushing that reach. So they're pushing for you to connect with more people and stuff like that. And that's awesome. So if you want to get on there and, we spoke about this in some training recently about vanity metrics and stuff like that, is that it all looks really good. But if you're not keeping up with it, if you're not consistent, if you're not taking it seriously, I mean, even though you could be messing about and doing some funny kind of stuff, if you're not taking it seriously, it's not going to work for you to basically create that personal brand or to use it to your advantage or anything like that.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying about with TikTok from the business point of view, is that, if you get onto TikTok and maybe you start talking about your kind of industry or your expertise and stuff like that, that you will attract some people. You will get people who look at that and go, yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm going to find more than that. But what my kind of issue that I've been saying all along is that if you get someone who is like, say, I don't know, take a personal trainer, for example, and they're trying to get on TikTok and they're trying to do all the kind of lip syncing videos and stuff like that so they can get more followers. And then they kind of switch it and they start telling you how to work out. Well, people they're going to be like, well, look, I'm watching you because I'm looking for the fun stuff. I'm not looking for the serious stuff.
Exactly.
They're not going to see it. But if you see it, I forget the guy's name now. There's a guy who, he does these kind of videos where he just shows the kind of common sense, the simple kind of solution to something. I forget what the guy's name is, but it would show like a video and it would be like a hack on like a Facebook video or something like that. And it would be like really complicated. And then he'd just show a simple kind of version to it. And it'd just be like, just put straw on it. It's that kind of thing. I can't think of the guy's name, but he's awesome. But he's done that for years.
Yeah.
He's done that for years and people know then. They know when they see something, he's going to be doing that. It's not then all of a sudden he's watching, saying, do you know what, you need to buy Bitcoin because this and that, or you need to get my workout program because of this and that. It's not the same. So yeah, I mean, TikTok, it's come about, it's that trend. I'm not against it. It may sound like I kind of bash it sometimes on the podcast, but I'm not against it. I think if you can use it to your advantage, there's a massive audience there at the minute that you can use it to your advantage.
Yeah, I think that's the case. And going back to this guy, the son of this lady that I was coaching, I think it didn't take, I don't know if he's still on TikTok now, maybe, but I think what he did was he took his visitors, he took his supporters with him. And I think he went onto YouTube simply because in YouTube, you can monetize it much, much better. Once you have that big following, there's more, you can also create longer videos and you can do more stuff with YouTube. It's a better, obviously a better search engine, that kind of stuff as well. And it's a lot more, there's a lot more ways you can monetize what you do on YouTube, and I think he took it off and took all well, not all of them, I guess, but a lot of his fan base with him went onto YouTube. So he's now quite a major player in YouTube,
that's quite interesting, isn't it, to be able to move to different platforms and stuff like that. And again, you know what, part of that, I would say, I applaud it in one way, because I'm like, that's awesome. That, okay, yeah, you've realized that you're going to give yourself that buffer, so you may still do TikTok and stuff like that. You may still pick up more supporters, but you've also got another channel now that is earning you that money. So if TikTok goes or whatever, that's fine. But actually, look, you're still running that risk of being on another platform within YouTube, and I guess
of course,
to kind of flip on to maybe like another trend is that we see it a lot. And this goes a bit further than marketing. This goes into kind of business, where we see a lot of people who are building up income revenue channels, or more importantly, they're relying on one kind of revenue channel. but it's on someone else's channel,
but it's on
someone else's platform.
Exactly.
So like that with YouTube, is that there's all kinds of stories of, different YouTube accounts being shut down where they talk about the pandemic and stuff like that, and different kind of different topics, and all of a sudden their whole channel is shut down. So just one video can get the whole thing shut down. We see people who, for instance, I know people who built up their kind of audience on Periscope, with the kind of link through Twitter. It's like, well, where's that right now? And then you see people as well now with Facebook groups. So people have built up Facebook groups, they've built up their community, they've built up their audience within Facebook. And maybe they've earned some great money from that. And then they started to see Facebook go, yeah, do you know what? We're gonna try this with groups, we're gonna try that with groups. And do you know what? Yeah, we're not really quite sure what we're gonna do with groups. So we're just gonna squeeze that that kind of reach that we have with groups.
And I think isn't that so apparent, isn't it, now that so many people are now looking for alternative places to host their group, and and you're right about YouTube and stuff. So many accounts get closed down for what seems some quite innocuous reasons, and so the best solution is finding something that you can really control. It's a software platform that is totally within your control, and you can govern. And you can create your own rules, and it doesn't matter what you say or what you do. That's the way to go, and you bring your list onto that, as opposed to using other people's platforms where you don't have any control really.
I've heard some horror stories.
You might have control one day, and then all the rules change the next day. So.
But that's it. I mean, I've known people on Facebook, for example, who have had their personal accounts banned, for certain amounts of time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I even know people who have run groups and stuff like that, and pages and ads and all sorts that were making them money, and then all of a sudden something's happened, and you said it could be something ridiculous. It could be that they shared a post about something that Facebook has seen that it's gone against their kind of policy, and all of a sudden they're banned for a month.
They're banned,
but everything else has been blocked, so they can't even get into their group or anything like that to keep up with, even if they've taken money to provide a service in a group. And now they can't get into the group.
No.
It's like, you got to have some pretty understanding customers to go, okay, you keep my money, even though you didn't provide what it was.
And it's funny, isn't it? I've been on different forums with people before when they've said, I'd love to be able to charge people to come into my Facebook group, and I want to be able to send people to a different place where they pay for access and everything. And you say, and exactly that, you say, okay, I'm sure that you can do it if you want to, but do you really want to? You're putting all your income, all your eggs into that basket, and you're not holding it. You're not even holding part of it, and that basket just gets taken away tomorrow, and you have nothing. So. It's if you can find your own platform where you're in control, then that's going to be a much better prospect.
I think you got a guy I've mentioned a couple of times over in Australia, James Franco. He's got a great saying where he says, "Own the race course." And I think that's perfect. Especially when it comes to kind of Facebook groups and stuff like that. That whole thing, like you said as well, is there's so many people that they use Facebook as maybe their kind of support kind of group, or they actually charge for access to that group, but that actually goes against Facebook's rules.
Yeah, exactly.
You're actually breaking the rules just by charging people, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, if you're listening to this and you're outside the UK, you're in the States or something like that, you will know that going back about 18 months ago, Facebook opened up a load of options for groups. And one of those was actually to charge people to come into your group. So it went all through the platform and stuff like that. And they went all in on groups for about 3 months. And then they just went, we don't know what we're doing here with, the way you kind of forward with groups and stuff. So we're just going to, bin all these kind of things that we were thinking. And, we're just going to kind of let things tick along. And some influencers were given supporter groups and stuff like that. So people could buy stars, which were Facebook's currency. And you could actually pay for stuff in stars and all this kind of stuff. And then they just kind of went, we're not too sure. And now we've got to that point where, you could be in a group and people could be posting into that group and you don't even have a clue. It's not even showing up on your feed. You're not getting notifications, even if you've got notifications turned on.
Yeah.
And it's like, and you have to physically go into the group and stuff like that. And it's like, look, it doesn't serve a purpose for anyone really.
No.
You know?
And there's so many, and this is I think the biggest, one of the biggest issues, and it doesn't matter which social media channel you use, is that when you have started to create contacts and you don't harvest those contacts, I'm not talking about bringing new ones in, but if you don't take those contact details and put them into your own list, you are committing a cardinal sin, because you're allowing other people who may well be getting access to your email, to your list of people, because you don't know what Facebook do behind the scenes.
We all know things are going on with our data, right? That's
exactly. So you want to get that list into your domain. So you into your CRM or whatever you're dealing with, however you're dealing with it, you get them into your list. Again, is under your control and not someone else's control. How many? I'm sure you've come across this as well. How many examples that I've had where I've been speaking to people and they've had a Facebook group of 300, 400 members, and say, well, what CRM are you using? Are they on your list anywhere? And I say, oh no, they're just all on Facebook. Think, what?
It's tough. And the thing is as well with Facebook, I think if you look at those groups, is that I guess that the whole kind of way that it has been done is you start that group around a topic, you kind of build up that community. And this was an awesome tactic years back. You would get some decent kind of revenue from it. But now if you build this kind of group, that it has to be really engaging for people to keep staying in that group and keep contributing, because it's hard to build momentum. It's really easy to lose it. And then once you lose it, you're never going to get it back. It's one of those, it's really weird. And because of that, like you said, is that basically just dies. It's not even a case of like, you look at how you extract that data, then it's too late then. That's the thing, it's too late.
Yeah.
And there's always been this saying in the whole kind of internet marketing world about the money is in the list. And what it means there is, it is your contact list. Is that you have that list of people, you have that list of customers. Not saying you're just taking emails left, right, and center, and adding them to a list. Is actually, you get in trouble now by doing that. But the whole point is that you build up a list of people who opt in, who want that kind of information. And talking about trends and stuff, and talking about Facebook groups, one of the trends I've spotted recently, which in my eyes it is pretty cool. I mean, it still doesn't change the whole kind of Facebook group aspect that we've been saying, that you're building your kind of business on Facebook. But what people are doing is, instead of saying that we have this group, come and join it, they're saying, we have this group, if you would like to join, press this button. And what happens is it takes you off to a website, and then you have to put your name and email address in, and then you receive an email that gives you a link to the Facebook group.
Okay.
So you can't find the Facebook group just on Facebook, you need the link. But the smart thing here is that they get your name and email address to be able to send you the link. So they start that process off of, okay, look, we've got people on an external list now. So even if Facebook dies, well, look, we've still got, our Facebook group dies, we've still got this list of people that we can do. And what, we've got like the software ClickFunnels. They actually have a template for this now, that you can actually just press a button and the template will load, and you just obviously put in your details. And it's like, you can actually just, have this kind of, this funnel basically running, in next to no time. And it's a smart trend. I think people will get onto that kind of spam side, and, they sign up for a group and then they start getting a load of spam, and then that will kind of ruin it, as everything in marketing, gets ruined by the spammers. But I think that's a smart play at the minute, So I said, it doesn't change the actual Facebook group side of things, but getting that kind of information first gives you a great opportunity.
I think, and that's the secret, isn't it? Like we just said, with it doesn't matter whether it's I don't know, I presume it's the same with Clubhouse, but Clubhouse, TikTok, and Instagram Reels. We'll come on to LinkedIn Stories, because that's an interesting little one as well. Twitter, Moments, Snapchat, even Facebook and all those kind of stuff. You have to garner those email addresses. If you ever, LinkedIn, see, this is where LinkedIn is really, really good for a marketer, because the email addresses that people use, they're all in the profile. It's so easy to get that the information is there. I wouldn't say it's not always easy to get the information off. It's a bit time consuming, but you can do that. You can take that information off, put it into your own list, and because they've become a connection, you can then email them and say, "It's great. We're a connection on LinkedIn. I'd love to be able to talk to you about talk to you more and send you some emails." It's likely you're going to get a better response because you're already connected on LinkedIn. So I'm not saying don't do it, because you have to. And that's the way you start getting it. But again, it comes back to that marketing process we were talking about, wasn't it? The ultimate outcome to me of any kind of marketing, we're not talking selling here because it's two different things. The ultimate aim to me is to get marketing names and emails into your ecosystem, not onto LinkedIn's, not onto Facebook's, not onto Instagram's. By all means, you can still do it there, but make sure you take them off and you put them into your own system.
And that's, I think, going back to the kind of beginning of, of this podcast as well. And that's what we're saying is that, look, all the platforms and stuff like that, look, they're tools.
Yeah, they're
tools for you to use to support your tactics, your strategy, your processes, whatever it is. The whole point there is that if you control that list, if you control your pool of potential customers, even customers, even people who have bought from you as well, if you, the amount of people, like you said, you talk to businesses or whatever, and they've got these kind of people doing something in a group or whatever it is, and they don't have any kind of contact details for them, or they're not marketing to them. Well, actually, the flip side is also horrible, where you would have a business who has had customers, and then they're not doing any marketing to them or touching base with them or catching up with them or anything like that. And it's like, well, look, these are people that have already bought from you. They'll probably buy from you again. You just have to go through that motion, of not just thinking just because they bought from you before they're going to buy again. You actually have to go through that marketing process again. And get them in. But yeah, I mean, that is always the thing. Getting people onto your own list. We call it the ecosystem. You get people into your own ecosystem that you can start, building, growing, whatever it is that you build up that relationship with them. And like the big thing here as well is that you don't actually need lots of people on a list. Like years ago, it was always a case of, build a list as much as you can and get loads of people on and all this kind of stuff. Whereas now, you could have a list of 400 people and you could have a pretty good income stream from those 400 people.
Yeah. Again, and that again comes back down to your marketing process, your targeting then, isn't it? So if you've got 400 really, really well targeted people who are really interested in the value you put out, so you're not just kind of peddle stuff to them, they really like what you do. So every time you put out something, you think about them and you give them the value, they're going to want to buy that. And if you've got 400 people who are active buyers on a fairly regular basis, you've got a fantastic business.
And they become supporters as well. And this is where you get the whole kind of phrase of, you build your tribe. And you have your tribe of supporters and all this kind of stuff. They will do the work for you, basically, of bringing more customers in and stuff like that. But that is exactly it. Like, all we're trying to do is just build, that list of supporters, people who are interested, people who are buying from us. We build that there. Those people who show intent, those people who have some sort of interest, they're going to do it. And like we say, you'll see people who say, my tribe and stuff like that. And it's like, your tribe are on a Facebook group. And they opted in because, you said you were going to give them X, Y, Z as a giveaway, and they've never shown up in that group anyway. So, like, is it really a tribe?
That's the other thing. And I saw something today. Interestingly, it was on Facebook. It was somebody asking for people to help them out, and they were promising a Amazon voucher. So you say, look, if you help me out, I can give you an Amazon voucher. So we know that person isn't just asking for them to help them out. That person wants to build a relationship with them, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that, because all marketing has to start with relationship. But they're not going to be the target market, because they're going to say, "Oh, an Amazon voucher, I'll have one of those."
And that's it. Look, there's no issue with paying for leads and paying for people to come into your process and all this kind of stuff. If you have the right process that is cost effective, that's what ads are, right? You're paying. To come in. But like you said, you're waving a £5 Amazon voucher at someone. Look, who doesn't want it?
It's going to say they're going to get want it. Millions of tire kickers are going to come along.
Tire kickers is a great word for that, you know.
Yeah.
I think we bashed Facebook quite a bit there.
Sorry, yeah, probably.
But I guess that to me, look, social media platforms, look, they always work if you make them work for you. But the big takeaway here is, look, don't build your business on someone else's platform, especially Facebook groups. I think Facebook groups are that one now. You're actually seeing lots of different platforms open up where they are just community platforms that you can actually buy you kind of, you know, you so say own that kind of space, but again, look, you're always on someone else's platform.
Yeah, that's the
There's
problem.
still an element there where if that business goes under, your group goes away. You know, so you need to be looking at, okay, look, how can you do this yourself, and you know, however you want to build it up. And obviously, if you struggle with that, get in touch. We can, you know, show you what we use and stuff like that to build our kind of community. But let's move on then to LinkedIn. So LinkedIn's another social media platform. I mean, over the years, LinkedIn is you know, it kind of went a bit dead. It then had a big kind of resurgence. It kind of went dead again. Microsoft bought it, kind of went mental. Lots of people jumping on and using it. And then I think it's still good. I think it still has a bit of momentum in, but I think a lot of people are getting a bit, I'm gonna be honest, I think people are getting a bit pissed off with all the kind of spam and the bots and that kind of stuff that comes in.
That's the problem again with LinkedIn. If you had a certain amount of followers, however many followers that is, and you put in a post into LinkedIn, your followers would see the post. It doesn't happen anymore. Again, because their algorithm. In fact, the interesting thing, I was talking to a guy in Bristol who is quite a renowned LinkedIn trainer and advisor, and he has the ear of LinkedIn. He talks to LinkedIn quite regularly. They don't know how their algorithm works because it's all computer generated. So they don't know what's going on because the computer keeps kind of like adding bits on, taking bits off. But it seems that people used to think that if you commented within 10 minutes, you got a bigger reach. That doesn't seem to be the case anymore. Some people seem to think that if you put a like and a comment, that it will get better. All this kind of stuff that people were making up in their heads. No one knows. But I do know that if you put out what I do know is that on posts now, the reach is a quarter of what it used to be when people put out stuff, and no one knows the reason. I post on LinkedIn quite regularly, and some days I've had notification from LinkedIn that my post is trending in a certain hashtag, and you think, why? I've hardly got any people reading it. And it just doesn't make any sense. But
do you know what, mate? I can remember I put this out on Facebook and on LinkedIn and all the platforms, and I did it just as a bit of a joke, right? I had a notification come up on LinkedIn once that said your post is in the top 1% posts on LinkedIn, and I was like, what? Like, this is mental. Like, this is insane. Like, everyone on LinkedIn, this is brilliant, right? And do you know what? Like, I can remember at that time, we were doing the kind of transit. We were starting strategy and conversions, you know, and the kind of stuff that I was doing before. I kind of took a bit of that time where I was like, right, okay, I'm not going to be as active because we're making this transition. We don't really know what the kind of offering is yet, and all this kind of stuff. You know, and I wasn't really that active. And then when I started to be active again, I was putting a post out, and it was like, your post has reached 25 people, and it was like, I'm connected with like 7,000 people on there, right? It's like your post has reached, you know, 25 people, and like, you know, ones from before are reaching thousands, and it's like, and now, you know, touch wood, we're, you know, a few months on, post I put out this week, it's reaching, you know, a fair amount of thousands, and it's like, that's awesome, but like, how mental is that? You know, you stop posting for a little while, and you know, they're just like, well, we're not going to show you to many people anymore.
And that varies, and I was just really interested in it's something that I never got involved in, actually. And you were just telling me about LinkedIn stories again. I remember seeing the stories feature come out, and I thought, I don't know why I avoided it, but I just didn't really get much involved. But well, tell the story.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it's all been kind of put out there this month, September. At the end of September, stories will be gone from LinkedIn. I mean, it only came about like back last year, right? I mean, you know, the stories feature, And this is the thing, that features always come out. They always come and go.
Yeah.
I mean, we look at, I guess just over the pandemic, we've seen different platforms come out with different features. But Facebook came out with rooms when Zoom got quite busy. The whole kind of story thing came about because Snapchat did stories and everyone was keen on Snapchat. So then Facebook couldn't buy Snapchat, so they created their own, within Instagram as well. And then, Facebook couldn't buy TikTok, and now they've created Reels. So, and it's all kind of teamed up within TikTok where you can share your TikTok through to, your Instagram Reels and stuff like that. But like for LinkedIn, I think the stories never caught on because there was never any real. I think the stories are really good for entertainment and stuff that is, stuff that is real, that is happening right now. Whereas within business, you don't just want something to disappear. You want something to be there all the time. You want, if you're saying, look, we're at this trade show right now, come along and meet us. Well, as much as that makes sense just to be in something that disappears, but that's still a bit of an asset from, months to come, that you can say, we were at this trade show, we were doing this and we were doing that. So it can still work for you. So why would you want stuff to disappear? I've used stories a few times within LinkedIn, and I think anytime I've used them, it's just been to say, we've just put this post out, go and check it out. And it was just an extra way of going, okay, look, if you check this out, and some people would check it out. I think another feature on LinkedIn that just hasn't really worked anytime is LinkedIn groups.
Oh, yeah.
I think this, it's just like pointless.
Yeah, they just don't seem to be. The whole idea was they were going to give you a corporate entity, but nothing. Well, if you put a post on a group, no one sees it.
No one sees it.
And it just seems to be a pointless exercise. And what's changed in LinkedIn recently?
LinkedIn had events, so they had events with webinars and stuff like that. You could list your event. They also had the newsletter feature come about, and I'll be honest, I haven't used either of these. I know people who have kind of mentioned them and stuff like that. What I have heard, I haven't seen it, but what I have heard is that in the States especially, is that they're testing out a bit of a marketplace within LinkedIn. And I think if they get this right, it will take LinkedIn into a different level. Okay. Because I think it as long as it's not the kind of spam side where people are just saying, I can do this, I can do that. But if it is just a way where, and I don't want to say it this way because this might devalue, how it's coming across, but you imagine something like Fiverr, right? And you go to Fiverr and you're looking for a graphics designer that can create a logo for you. Well, look, why wouldn't that just be in LinkedIn? That you can go in and you can search for a graphic designer, maybe you even search for an area, you search Bristol, and then you bring someone up and then they've got endorsements from people that they've worked with and proof of work and all this kind of stuff. And they say, yeah, I charge this amount of money, contact me here. Why wouldn't you want that? That's what LinkedIn is really about, right? It's about connecting and, getting work. So I think if they get that right, I think it would be awesome. But I think again, I think it's only been kind of tested in the States. I don't know if it's going to actually come about over here. It'd be interesting to see what happens. But at the minute, stories are disappearing. And this is that thing, there were probably people who jumped on that bandwagon of you got to be using LinkedIn stories. If you're not using that, then there's no point.
There were definitely, there were, and certainly on the brochure thing as well, that kind of thing as well at the moment. But the interesting thing that's just changed for me on LinkedIn, being a copywriter, is that on posts they've changed the character limit from 1,200 to 3,000.
Yeah.
Now LinkedIn articles, different from posts, were also rubbish at getting any kind of reach. They were a good place. They were good from being able to show in your profile that you had written articles on this and that different subject, showed a bit of area of expertise, but they never got any traction. If you posted an article, no one was taken to it. You had to actually physically be taking people on your post to get them to read the articles, and then sometimes they didn't. So I don't quite understand why LinkedIn have done this, but hey, who knows? So what they've done is they've changed it now, so you can now write 3,000 word posts. So instead of being about 3,000 characters. So instead of being about 200 words, it probably comes out around 450 or something like that.
Okay.
And it's because apparently they realized that no one was, reading LinkedIn articles. Well, guess what? They haven't been enough views. But the problem is now is you get even more rubbish to wade through because some people will use all their characters because they think they've got to use all their characters. If I've got a space, I've got all this free space of 3,000 characters to use, I've got to use it. But you only use it if what you're writing is actually interesting to read. So what happens? You get so much rubbish coming through. You think, oh, I'm not going to wade through this. And then, of course, the other thing is, and this is a big trend with bots and everything, isn't it? And we talk about those bots in a second. Is that so many people now are getting DMs all the time, direct messages, the LinkedIn messaging system. And it's like you said, I think you said this in a training and in a podcast.
I said it about several times.
Yeah. So you get a line saying, "How are you?" And you sort of, "Oh yeah, I'd love to connect with you or something. I'd love to be part of your network." All this kind of stuff. You think, yeah. And I've turned down so many now. I think I've got about 100 requests stacked up.
Trojan horse, right?
Yeah, that's right. I read your blog and it's really, really good. You think, really? Okay. Great. Okay. Why didn't you like it? Why didn't you leave a comment? And then as soon as you reply, it's bang, we've got this webinar coming up. And you think, oh no, why did I connect with this? I knew this was going to happen. And so what's happening now is people like me, and I'm sure I'm not alone, are now not opening DMs.
Yeah.
Because you know that if I connect with that person, the chances are pretty well 9 out of 10 that they're going to spam me. So it's just ruining the platform for me anyway. I think it's ruining the platform. It's ruining the integrity of the platform.
Now, I think that is the thing, is it ruins the platform, and it's a numbers game, it's a volume game, and for these people, because of the volume, it will work. It means they will get something from it, and that's why it keeps continuing, which also presents a bit of an opportunity for you to take advantage of, like that actual thing of sliding into the DMs, having that conversation, but doing that once you've already kind of had a conversation on the platform, right, makes perfect sense. You can actually pick up so much business by putting in the time and effort.
Absolutely, there's a time and a place, definitely, yeah.
But if you put in the time and the effort, right, that's not what the other people are doing. The other people are trying to just sting straight in and say, buy my stuff. But you're actually having that conversation. So again, but they're going to come and buy from you. We had that. We're doing the training on content the other day, and I kind of give the example of, look, if you kept walking if you walk down the road and someone jumped out and said, "Do you want to buy this car?" Yeah, and it'd be like, no, why would I want to buy your car and stuff like that, right? But if you start having a conversation with this person at the bus stop every day and stuff like that, right, and then all of a sudden they say, "Oh, I'm selling my car. Do you know anyone who's interested?" Right, and you're interested in a car anyway, or whatever, someone, you're gonna be like, I know someone, or I can share this with so and so, stuff like that. You're gonna be more open to having that conversation about it, where instead of everyone's looking at it as, look, what's in it for me? How can I get this person to come and sign up, or how can I get this person to buy my stuff? And it's like, look, that person isn't interested right now, and we went through the whole kind of pyramid of awareness as well. Is that, look, these people may not even realize that they have a problem. They may not even realize that there's a solution right now. But by having these conversations on a post, it could even still be within the DMs, but you're having this kind of conversation. And this is a powerful tactic. If you get this right, it's a powerful tactic that you will get lots of business from, lots and lots. You don't even need to be running ads and doing all this kind of stuff. Just putting in time and effort will pick you up business, right? But coming back to just that kind of slide into the DMs with a unsolicited message kind of thing. It's like someone just knocking at your door and just trying to sell you a load of stuff, right? I won this morning, 6 a.m. this morning. It came through. I don't know who this woman is. It's probably my own fault for connecting with people I don't know and stuff like that, right? But straight away, the first line was, "We can help you scale strategy and conversions." It's just like, scale. Like, for one, what does scale even mean? Yeah. Like, two, you don't even know where we're at. Like, you don't know what we offer, what our numbers are. Anything, and all of a sudden you're saying, "I can help you scale," and it's just like, look, just because these buzzwords are out there, scale and stuff like that. Look, it doesn't mean that everyone wants to scale. Some people just want a bit of extra business. Some people are happy where they are right now. Some people are just looking at smoothing out their processes and making things run a bit better. It's like you don't know that because all you're doing is you're just trying to smash
Because there's
them
no
in the face.
relationship. That's right. I mean, it's like all these things. Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, you name it. Really, any of the channels is, to me, they are a connection platform. And the whole point is, if you connect with them, like you suddenly, they put something up, a post that you're really interested in reading, and you connect with them, you maybe connect with them a couple of times, by all means then send them a DM. But really, the real, my real aim for this is to get them off those social media platforms and onto Zoom or Zoom. It just never said that a few years back, but onto the phone or Zoom, and actually have a proper conversation with them, and see, and then talk about each other's companies and find out if you can help them at all.
And this, coming back to this message that I received, right, that said, we can help you scale. Straight away underneath there's a link to a Calendarly booking system, right? So they're saying, look, book a call and stuff like that, right? How much of a waste of time is it for the person on the other end of that call, right? Jumping on all these kind of calls with people when they don't even know, what size of business it is. They don't know if they have any budget. They don't know if they're ready to scale. They don't know, anything and everything. They just don't know.
Yeah.
So that person gets on, oh, we can help you scale. Yeah, what's your turnover right now? Oh, I'm a new business. Oh, well, how much are you looking to grow in the next year? I'm just probably looking to tick along. It's like, well, actually, you're not for us. Or the next person is like, yeah, I want to scale. I want to make $1 million. Great. Yeah, we can help you in this X amount of money. Oh, I can't afford that.
Yeah, that's right. And this goes back to, as you said, and the whole thing about all those leads are just wasted time, completely wasted time and effort. So you want to get leads that are ready or interested, shall we say, interested in what you have to offer, either ready to buy now or ready to buy in the future. So they can either be a customer now, or they go into your pipeline for, say, 3 months' time. But the whole point is, you're now building you're building that sales funnel now. So you've taken the marketing and you're now building your sales funnel ready. And that's the whole point. But you don't do that like you said, you don't just go into a pub and say to somebody, tap them on the shoulder, say, do you fancy getting married on Saturday?
It's always about grabbing the Nando's, right?
Grabbing the Nando's, yeah.
But that whole kind of thing as well, with saying about lead generation, we've been through it before on this, and we've been through it in the training as well, where we said, look, a lead is someone who is showing intent that they want to do business with you. A lead isn't just a name and an email address, or a name and a number. That isn't a lead. It's someone who is qualified, and we say hot. They don't have to be hot. They just have to have that kind of intent.
They just have to have that. They have to like what they've seen and have that intention of being interested in what you have to offer, more than just interested in talking to you about it necessarily, but interested in, because they realize it could probably help them in some way or other. They just want to, they just want to find out more. Like going, if you go into a showroom, I mean, again, I guess showing my age a bit, but you used to go to a showroom, you go to the car sales showroom, and you get the car sales guy and tell you all about this latest model, blah, 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 blah. And how it does this. And I used to say to him, you know what? It's great. I haven't taken any of that in. Have you got a brochure? I want to know more, but you're not letting me. You're just giving me woof.
Talking to me. Yeah.
So you're talking to me. So why not asking me what I'm looking for? So, but then I'd say, yeah, have you got any backup? Any brochures that I can read? Oh no, we haven't got any brochures. Well, I walk out the showroom. That's it. I'm not going to go back there again and buy a car, because I'm just thinking, well, that's not a very good service. So I'll go find a dealer who does it somewhere else. But it's that kind of they want they're interested in what you have, like I would have been there. They're interested in what you have, but at that point they're not ready to buy. But they do want to know more information. They want to find out more information. But they also want that information to be given to them in a way they can digest it, and not just whack information download, because that doesn't help either.
We've been through it a few times, haven't we, on the podcast and stuff, where we've said, look, you need to be giving people the next step that is right for them.
That's
not about the right step, the right step which is right for you.
No.
It's all about them. And having those people who are interested, look, those are the people that you want to extract.
Yeah, exactly.
So quite rightly, like you said, like with social media, with all that kind of front end stuff that we're talking about, this is where you're connecting with people. This is where you're kind of filtering out. That's all we're doing in marketing. Everyone thinks about marketing as attract. Marketing is the filter. We're actually putting the barriers in place and saying, look, we don't want you. We don't want you to come to the next stage. If this is something that is appealing to you, take the next step. Come here. We're putting those roadblocks in place for people where if we know they're not going to be right, we're actually putting that ready, that we're not wasting our time when we get to it. Or even worse, you get those people who, and mate, we've probably all been there where we've taken on clients that we shouldn't have taken on. And then we're just, why have I done this? And it turns out to be a headache and all this kind of stuff. And you think, look, if I just had my marketing right, if I had the right processes in place, I wouldn't have took this person on.
Yeah. And I think I use coaches because I am a coach, and I've done a lot of coaching of coaches. Coaches have a tremendous problem with this. They'll take someone on without really filtering properly. And coaches live and die by reviews. They live and die by testimonials and reviews because it's an intangible thing. They've taken someone from A to B. They've changed their behavior. They've changed their limiting beliefs and all this kind of stuff. All really intangible stuff. So their reputation really lives and dies on a testimonial or a case study whereby that client that they've worked with can say, yeah, it was really good. It made me realize this and do this and do this. But when they take on people who they should never have worked with in the first place, who probably aren't serious about coaching and just really aren't going to put in any effort in, guess what? They either don't get a testimonial or it'll be a pretty poor one. And that kills them. It kills their business. Yeah. And it's because they haven't had the right process in place on a call or something to say, look, hang on, I need to check that you're right for me to work with. And not assuming that every person out there is your ideal client, because they're not.
As well, there is a level, like with coaches and stuff like that, there's a level that they get to where all of a sudden there's an application process.
Yeah.
Right. And people have to apply to work with that person. And then you actually see that, okay, that if someone fills out those forms and all that kind of stuff, that they're interested in doing it,
Yeah.
I remember someone talking the other week about filling in forms. They just said, look, the time that we live in now, like, why do I have to fill in different forms in different places and stuff like that? Why can't I just, upload it all? And it's like, sometimes it's not just about making it easy for you. It's actually going through a process where the other person can see, look, this person's followed instruction.
Yeah. Take an effort.
Put the effort in, to actually get to this kind of stage. And that's a big thing. And that's what happens with the kind of marketing. So like we're saying, we're not, I said about turning people away, we're turning the wrong people away, and the right people, we're attracting them into the next step, but they may not get through the next kind of step, is that we just want to make sure who we can help is actually going to come through to the right kind of stage. We do it within strategy and conversions. Our whole kind of thing is that we want it to be a bit different to the normal market, where we want to be able to help people from, they just want to start something up. It could be a side hustle. They want to get involved, through to a company that is growing, is looking at different income streams and growth methods and all this kind of stuff, even to exit and stuff like that, and everything in between. And we've got different products there where, there's price different, there's different things involved where we're actually asking questions that, well, look, if you can't even answer this question, this product isn't right for you.
No, exactly. Yeah.
It's like, because you're not at this stage. And I think there's so many people, mate, that whole kind of message that I've received with, we can help your business scale. People will be like, yeah, great, I want to earn more money, and then they go through and it's just like nothing ever happens because, all this company does is run a few ads or whatever it is. And, this company doesn't have a great process or even a great offer in place anyway.
Exactly.
And it just doesn't work, and that's the real issue there. I think, that kind of hoodwinked. We've been through it so many times where I've said about, there's so many people out there recommending and telling you that you need what they sell.
Yeah, like, you need this, you need that.
They never tell you that something else would be better for you,
Yeah.
It's like, it's crazy. But look, that's a whole different topic.
That's a different topic
that we'll pick up again. But so we've been through a load of different trends. I think, is there anything else? Is there any other kind of trends about right now that we've...
Not that I can think of. I mean, I'm probably not the best person to ask because I'm probably not that aware of actually what's bubbling under. You're far more aware than I am, but it's just to say that there will be hundreds, not hundreds. There'll be lots of new platforms. There'll be lots of new tools. There'll be lots of new things coming along to maybe rival Facebook, Instagram, or whatever. So things will change, always changing. But don't do the shiny object syndrome and go chasing them.
Yeah.
Get the sales process worked out correctly, because then you can make a really informed decision. You say, right, okay, here's a new platform. It's called Zog, for example. Here's our sales process. If I'm doing this and this and this, where does Zog fit in? Can Zog actually help me to get more customers? And you look at it and look at the platform, and you can generally say, yeah, that looks like it will do actually, so we'll go on to it. Or no, it's not going to do me at the moment. So save your time, because it all takes time, and it's taking your time, or it's taking someone else's time, your money, for someone else to start looking at it for you. So save yourself time. If it's not right, don't try and make it right, because you won't be able to.
And I guess this is the whole thing as well with, coming back full circle to the whole kind of TikTok thing, is that if you're doing something on, say, Facebook, and it's working, it's bringing you clients, continue doing that. If anything, double down on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And,
yeah.
Possibly spend a bit of time, a bit of attention on something like TikTok. Don't miss out on something that could be beneficial, but don't just all of a sudden switch, or all of a sudden now 80% of your focus is on TikTok because apparently you can get more followers and stuff like that. It's like, go where the money is, bank the money first and then have those options to do those things. And I think from me with the whole kind of trend thing, and I want to do this episode talking about the whole kind of trends and stuff, because you think all the stuff that we've mentioned just within this episode that has been over the past kind of 6 months and stuff like that, and all the kind of changes there, and even the different changes on platforms, stuff is always changing.
Oh yeah, constantly.
And it's changing at a speed that it is even quicker than what we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Things are always changing. You can never keep up on it, No. So all the stuff that we mentioned with trends, you will see that is always the front end.
Yeah.
Trends are always the front end. It's different platforms, it's attention, it's awareness, it's that recognition part of marketing. But when we're talking about attraction, we're talking about acquisition, we're talking about ascension, we're talking about retention, we're not looking at that front end anymore, But so many businesses will just focus on that front end marketing. Yeah, front end platforms. Yeah, I need to put this on Facebook, I need to put that on LinkedIn. They're just tools to help your process, to help them come into, we've got it mapped out as what we call the pentagon of momentum, right? And this has got the kind of different areas of marketing. And the whole point here is that you can then see which area you're flagging on, so you can then concentrate on bringing that up to make sure that, the whole kind of pentagon is working for you, that all the different areas are firing, that you can go, yeah, my marketing is working. I want to increase this area now. I can concentrate on this rather than playing the game of the front end. I mentioned this in last week's podcast about that whole kind of front end is like you're playing the fruit machine, the one-arm bandit. You're just putting money in and pressing the button, hoping that something comes in. But going back to that whole kind of James Franco analogy of own the race course, we want to own the casino. We want to build our casino. We've got lots of different games that are bringing us the money because the house always wins.
And you just mentioned your word just a few seconds ago there, retention. That is absolutely vital, customer retention. And I know so many studies have been put out about this, and still people don't seem to take it on board. It's about 10 times more expensive and more time consuming to get new customers than it is to sell or keep and sell to your existing customers. And your existing customers are becoming your fans. They bought stuff from you. They like what you do. So don't ignore them. You carry on with them. You work. You ask them. And, people say, oh, I don't know what else to sell to them. So ask them, what's their problem? What they're going to open up to you because they bought from you and they've got values. You say, what problems are you having at the moment? How can we help? The whole comes back down to how can we help? And they might give you an idea for a new product. Oh, what we really need is this. You think, bloody hell, I can build that and I can sell that to other people as well. So there you go. They've just given you an idea, and all it comes from is an open-ended question. How? And it's normally a how question. What can we do to help, or how can we help?
This is the great part of redeveloping, recreating a product, right? That whole kind of thing that you ask for feedback from what you've done for someone.
Yeah.
Ask them what would have made it better.
Yeah, always. Yeah.
If you start getting the same answer from different people, you know what you need to do to make it better. All of a sudden, you've got product 2.0. You go back to them to sell it back to them. It's like you've already got a list of customers there because they've told you they want it.
They want it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
This is the whole kind of thing that people just miss out. There's so much money left on the table because the whole kind of focus, the whole kind of marketing is focused on that front end.
Yeah.
We need to put some stuff out on social media. We need to do this. We need to do that. When really the whole kind of marketing point is, look, okay, how do we keep that pentagon moving around? How do we keep moving from those different sections? How do we move from recognition or awareness, acquisition, ascension, retention? How do we keep those things moving? How do we keep that working for us? And I think that this is a great point to wrap up on here, is that on a number of podcasts we said, look, what do you want to know about? What do you want us to talk about? Let us know. Get in touch with us. We've got the email address contact@strategyandconversions.com. All the different platforms, strategy and conversions. Go give us a like, a follow, a comment. Wherever you're watching or listening this as well, give us a review. Let us know what you think.
Let us know what you want, and let us know how we can help.
Exactly.
It's all about how we can help.
And what? Just a quick plug as well. Look, if you do need some help, then head over to the website strategyandconversions.com. We've got lots of different ways there to help you, from things which are free through to things which cost a fair amount of money, but give you that kind of opportunity to get a fair return as well. And by the time this podcast comes out, we may be running a bit late by the time you're listening to it, but we're going to be running a webinar as well on 4 ways to add more money to your business, plus how to get started in internet marketing. If you're just looking at getting your business online, or you're looking at a side hustle or something like that, we'll put a link in the wherever you're listening or watching this. There'll be a link to register, so you may be in time to catch it live, you may be in time to catch the replay, but definitely go and check that out.
Yeah, definitely.
Anything else from you, Mark? Anything you want to wrap up or summarize this?
No, I just think it comes back to the same old thing. As you say, it's don't get so het up on the front end. Think about the whole back end. And like you said, the trends in social media, there'll be different ones coming along. But remember that it's all just front end stuff. Yeah. Get a process that works, and it won't matter.
I think that's it, man. I think for me, play the trends, but bank on the process.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's the way I look at it. But look, let's wrap it up then, Mark. It's always been a pleasure.
And of course, and it has been as well. Yeah, brilliant.
And I'll catch you next time.
Yeah, okay. Cheers, and Jamie. Bye.